Hello guys and welcome to Traceshow. If you're new to the channel, do not forget to click the subscribe button so you don't miss none of the videos that I post. In today's video, what is going on with Vice President Kamala Harris? Now, if you guys have seen a debate between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump, everybody know that Joe Biden's health has been declining. I mean, everybody knows it. So for her to say these things that she's about to say, somebody had to have known that President Joe Biden's health was declining. Somebody had to have known. But guys, check this clip out.
It's the only reason why. Can the American people trust you in these moments, even when it's maybe uncomfortable for Americans to level with Americans in that way? I speak with not only sincerity, but with a real firsthand account of watching him do this work.
Wow, that was hard to watch, Harold, unlike you. That response to the question about Biden's decline and her awareness of it, and she says he was capable in every measure. So I'm giving you three options. Is Harris stupid? Is she lying? Or is she drunk? You only get to pick one.
If they'll get a default, all of the above. I mean, I think she was none of those things. I think that she was, look, good to be back around the table. Those questions are ones that are uncomfortable for her.
But she knows they're coming.
Well, she doesn't. She probably should have a clear answer. I think the question about migrants offering benefits to our country, we're all migrants in this country, and you could have gone back and talked about that and said we now got to protect our borders.
I'm not. I was born here. Sorry. Dean, are you a migrant?
We're immigrants.
No.
We're all
Under that
immigrants.
definition.
We're all immigrants at some point. Only people that were not
I'm not an immigrant.
My people got brought here by force, but we'll another conversation.
Okay,
But my people too. You're 0.1%.
So I know that they be having fun on the five, and that's what it's all about. Coming together, having a legitimate conversation about differences, and just having a good time. That's what it literally is all about. And at the same time, somebody, somewhere, had to have known about President Joe Biden's health decline. I mean, I was shocked to see it during the debate because I was just like, yeah, something's going on. I was like completely shocked. But I seen a couple posts where people were talking about it previously and they were like, nah, he's good, he's fit, everything's fine. And then all of a sudden debate night happens and it's just like, well, something's not adding up. And at that point, in my head, I'm like, somebody had to have known what was going on during that debate. Somebody had to have known about his health. Somebody had to. But in this next clip, they explain why just some things aren't working anymore. Check this clip out.
Here, we expose the game. And independents are going to be the key. And I want to bring in Frank Luntz right now, pollster, communications analyst, expert, teaching at West Point. He knows this. He lived the 2004 election along with the rest of us. And I want to get his take on why independents are mattering so much right now. Frank, thank you very much for joining me.
Let me give you a compliment first. And I tend not to do this because as a pollster, I have to stay out of it. You're not really interested in my point of view. You're interested in the public's point of view. I cannot agree with you more. And the fact is, it's not a game anymore, and no one believes it's a game, and it should not be treated that way. And the fact is that some of the people right now, and I find this myself, I'm considered too pro-Trump for the Harris people, and I get emails about it. I'm too pro-Harris for the Trump people. I get emails about it. I get texts by people just angry in general. And it's really difficult to cover this election. You cannot call it. And so people are getting so apoplectic about giving any compliment to the other side without demonizing them and damaging them. That's not the way we should be doing this. A media consultant, a pollster, someone like you as a commentator, we have the responsibility to tell it straight, right down the middle, without favor for anyone. That's my first point.
That right there is what it is all about. Not favoring someone, being fair, and having a legitimate conversation. But instead, they want this side to push harder than this side to push harder than this. But where's the fairness between the two? People are supposed to have legitimate conversations, and they are going to have differences. But that's what it's all about. Just coming together, having actual conversations, and everybody just having a good time about it. And that's what it's all about. And all the other stuff can just get pushed aside.
Second, with the independents, They're the last people left that haven't made up their minds, but there's no undecided anymore. Those undecided are probably not voting for either of the two candidates. They're so negative, so turned off to what's happening that they simply said, I'm going to vote for a third party or not at all. It's the undecided who haven't made a commitment. And basically, they're uncommitted. They have a point of view. Whether or not they vote will determine who wins. I think at this moment, in terms of committed, Trump has the advantage. In terms of the ceiling of potential vote, Harris has the advantage, which is why I stay away from any projections. I don't know.
What do you think is most likely motivating independents in this, Frank, and why we saw a bump for Harris when she came in, and why there's some attrition in that margin for her, especially in the states that matter, actually losing it in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, at least for the moment? Do you think this is a consistent vibe for independents in cycles past of national security? What keeps me safest?
Actually, I don't. I think that Harris did one of the best launches of any campaign I've ever seen, and I'm old. That her optimism, her enthusiasm, the contradiction, or the contrast, I should say, between the negativity before she was in the race and this intensity of positivity that she brought to the race completely remade American politics as we know it. And as long as she stayed positive, which was through the convention, she continued to add to her support week after week, day after day. And the moment...
What I think it was when, she first came out and whatnot, she wasn't really speaking as much. And then when she started speaking and people started hearing certain things, that they were kind of like, well, I'm looking more for this than that. And, it all ultimately comes down to the economy and keeping people safe. If you put those two together, the economy and keeping people safe, that's what people truly care more about. They want to focus on how they can make this economy better. They also want to focus on how they can keep them and their family safe, because that's what it ultimately comes down to, is taking care of your family. You got to keep them safe, and you got to put food on the table. You can't be dealing with this inflation and then worried about how to keep your family safe. Those are things that people are worried about the most. Just look around. Look at it. People are worried about, how can we get this economy back stronger? They are working 40 plus hours just to make ends meet. They're taking time away from their families just to put food on the table. Think about that. Nobody wants to work 70, 80 hours a week just to make ends meet. They'd rather work 40 and then spend the rest of their time with their families.
The moment that she started to do the Donald Trump, the moment that she started to attack, to try to find the language, to embarrass him, to criticize him, she stopped focusing on herself. She started focusing on Donald Trump, and that's when she froze. You can look at the numbers. You can correlate it directly. The moment that she became Trump is the moment she hit her peak, and she's been falling ever since. A small amount.
And we both know why. We both know why, because we've been in those rooms, right? You get, this group of people around, right? They get complete groupthink. They're all in their bubble, and they know that the best way to win is to make the other guy lose. And you become obsessed with the negative, and all the ad buys go heavy negative, and you see the movement in the metered markets in those different places you're targeting move on the negative ads more than the proof of proposition or the positive ads, and that's when they lock it in.
Yeah, and the point right now is the public is saying enough, all caps with an exclamation. And she got that when she entered. And that's why she exceeded anyone's expectations. I now look at the campaign. She's going to be doing the town hall. And I wonder how specific she's going to get. Is she going to acknowledge that she hasn't answered the questions that voters are asking? Is she going to acknowledge that immigration got worse under Joe Biden? Is she going to acknowledge that she has a different point of view, a slightly different agenda? If she comes clean, if she's genuine and authentic, she has the advantage. But as long as she comes across as a typical politician, she will lose. Donald Trump says the most awful stuff. It is horrible.
Yep.
And those of us who want a more civil, more decent campaign, we quiver, and not quiver. We shake when we listen to him. But he's not going to lose a single vote by what he's saying. The only people who are still left are Harris voters, and whether or not they commit to her is going to depend on whether she comes clean, whether she's candid and authentic, And right now, that's not clear.
The main focus for everyone is the economy and how to keep them and their family safe. I mean, you look at it, there's crazy crimes happening to innocent people, and that stuff shouldn't be happening at all. Like, none of that stuff should be happening anywhere. So you got that, and then you got to look at the economy, inflation. That is the talk anywhere you go. You go to the grocery store, it's the talk. You go to put gas in your car, it's the talk. You go shopping, it's the talk. No matter where you look at it, people talk about inflation. You go buy a car, it's the talk. You go finance a house, it's the talk. No matter where you look at it, it is the talk. So people want to get back to where they used to be, where their lives were a lot more easier and they were able to put more money back in their pockets. Let me know what you guys think about today's video in the comment section. That'll be a wrap for today's video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.